Howdy folks, welcome to the great state of Texas where everything is bigger, including the trucks and, unfortunately, sometimes the traffic fines. Driving in Texas can be a unique experience, especially if you're new to the Lone Star State. With wide open highways and bustling city streets, it's important to know the rules of the road. This here's your guide to understanding Texas traffic laws and staying safe on our roads. We're gonna break down some important traffic rules from speed limits to DUI laws. We'll talk about why these rules are important. We'll also look at what could happen if you decide to play fast and loose with the law. Remember folks, driving is a privilege, not a right. And with that privilege comes a whole heap of responsibility. So, whether you're a seasoned Texan or a newcomer just passing through, buckle up, put your phone away, and let's dive into the wild world of Texas traffic laws. It's gonna be a wild ride. But hey, at least you'll be prepared, and that's what really matters, right? Alright, let's talk speed limits. Texas is known for its wide open spaces, and in some parts you might feel like you can put the pedal to the metal and let her rip. But hold your horses, cowboy. Just because a road looks like it goes on forever doesn't mean you can ignore the speed limit. Those signs are there for a reason, and it ain't just to give the state troopers something to do. Speed limits are set based on road conditions, traffic flow, and the types of vehicles that use the road. On highways, the speed limit can be as high as 75 miles per hour, but in urban areas it can drop down to 30 or even 25. And don't even think about speeding in school zones. Those little ones are unpredictable, and you better believe the fines are hefty. Now you might be thinking, what's a few miles per hour over the limit? Well, let me tell you, those few miles per hour can be the difference between a safe arrival and a nasty accident. Speeding reduces your reaction time and increases the distance it takes to stop. And if you do get into an accident while speeding, well, let's just say the consequences are going to be a whole lot worse. Now let's talk about something that seems to confuse a whole lot of folks, the right-of-way. It's not a suggestion, folks, it's the law. And it's there to prevent accidents and keep traffic flowing smoothly. Here in Texas, we take our right-of-way seriously. The basic rule of thumb is this: the vehicle that gets to the intersection first has the right-of-way. But of course, there are exceptions to every rule. For example, if you're at a four-way stop, the vehicle on the right gets to go first. And if you're turning left, you have to yield to oncoming traffic. Seems simple enough, right? Well, it would be if everyone paid attention. Sadly, that's not always the case. So, what can you do? Be aware of your surroundings. Make eye contact with other drivers to make sure they see you. And when in doubt, yield the right-of-way. Alright, let's talk about traffic lights. Those colorful beacons of hope and frustration that guide us through the urban jungle. Now, you might think that traffic lights are pretty self-explanatory. Red means stop, green means go, yellow means speed up and try to beat the red light. No, no, no. Yellow means slow down and prepare to stop. Don't be that person who guns it through a yellow light, causing everyone else to slam on their brakes. Traffic lights are there to regulate traffic flow and prevent accidents. When you run a red light, you're not just breaking the law, you're putting yourself and others in danger. And don't even get me started on people who run red lights when it's clear they don't have a clear path. That's just asking for trouble. Pay attention to the traffic lights, folks. They're there for a reason. And remember, yellow means slow down, not speed up. Unless you're in a Fast and Furious movie. In which case, please disregard everything I just said. Section 5. Turning regulations, navigating Texas roads like a pro. Let's talk about turning. Turning seems simple enough, right? But it can actually be one of the more complex maneuvers on the road. Not to worry though, we'll break it down. In Texas, we drive on the right side of the road. That means when you're making a right turn, you need to stay in the right lane and turn into the right lane on the cross street. Left turns are a little trickier. When you're making a left turn, you need to use your turn signal. Start from the lane closest to the center of the road, then turn into the lane closest to the center of the cross street. And remember, always yield to oncoming traffic. Oh, and one more thing, U-turns. They're legal in Texas, but there are some places where they're not allowed. Look for signs that say no U-turn and be aware of your surroundings. You don't want to end up doing a U-turn into oncoming traffic. Section 6. Buckle up, buttercup, seatbelts, and child safety. Alright folks, let's talk about something that should be a no-brainer: seatbelts. Buckling up is the single most important thing you can do to protect yourself in a car accident. It's not just the law in Texas, it's common sense, yet some people still don't do it. And to those people I say, what in tarnation is wrong with you? Texas law requires everyone in the vehicle to wear a seatbelt, no matter where they're sitting. Front seat, back seat, it doesn't matter. If you're in a moving vehicle, buckle up. And if you've got kids in the car, make sure they're properly secured in a car seat or booster seat that's appropriate for their age and size. Look, I get it, seatbelts can be a little uncomfortable. But, you know what's more uncomfortable? Being ejected from a moving vehicle during an accident. So, please do yourself and everyone else on the road a favor and buckle up. Section 7. Phones down, eyes up. The dangers of distracted driving. Now let's talk about something that's become a real epidemic on our roads: distracted driving. Specifically, using your phone while driving. Folks, I'm gonna be straight with you. Put the phone down. It can wait. No text, no call, no Instagram story is worth risking your life or the lives of others. Texas law prohibits texting while driving, and for good reason. When you're looking at your phone, you're not paying attention to the road, you're not reacting to traffic signals, you're not noticing pedestrians, and you're certainly not in control of your vehicle. And when you're driving a 2-ton hunk of metal at high speeds, that's a recipe for disaster. So, do yourself a favor and put the phone away. Put it in the glove box, put it in the trunk, throw it out the window if you have to. Just don't use it while you're driving. Your life and the lives of others depend on it. Section 8. Driving under the influence, don't be a statistic. Alright folks, let's talk about something that should go without saying. Driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs is illegal, dangerous, and just plain stupid. In Texas, we have a zero-tolerance policy for drunk driving. If you're caught driving with a blood alcohol content, BAC of 0.08% or higher, you're in big trouble. And if you're under 21, the limit is even lower. Driving under the influence impairs your judgment, slows your reaction time, and makes it nearly impossible to operate a vehicle safely. It's not worth the risk. If you're going out and plan on drinking, designate a sober driver, call a cab, or use a ride-sharing service. There are plenty of options available that don't involve getting behind the wheel after you've been drinking. Section 9. Common traffic signs, speaking the language of the road. Alright, let's talk about traffic signs. Those colorful metal squares, rectangles, and octagons that line our roads. They're not just there for decoration, folks. They're there to communicate important information to drivers and help keep traffic moving smoothly and safely. In Texas, we use a standard set of traffic signs that are recognized nationwide. Some signs are regulatory signs like stop signs, speed limit signs, and yield signs. These signs tell you what you can and cannot do on the road. Then there are warning signs like curves ahead, pedestrian crossing, and construction ahead signs. These signs warn you of potential hazards ahead so you can adjust your driving accordingly. And finally, there are guide signs, like street signs, highway signs, and exit signs. These signs help you find your way and provide information about your route. Pay attention to the signs, folks. They're there to help you. Section 10. Understanding the consequences, fines, penalties, and the true cost of traffic violations. Now let's talk about the consequences of breaking traffic laws, because let's face it, folks, sometimes we all make mistakes. But those mistakes can come with a hefty price tag. In Texas, traffic fines can range from a few $100s to several thousand, depending on the severity of the violation. And that's not even counting the points on your license, the increase in your insurance premiums, or the possibility of jail time. If you're caught speeding, for example, the fine will depend on how fast you were going and where you were speeding. Speeding in a school zone will cost you a lot more than speeding on a highway, and if you're caught driving under the influence, well, let's just say you better be prepared to lawyer up and drain your savings account. The point is, breaking traffic laws is not worth the risk. The consequences can be severe and long-lasting, so do yourself a favor and obey the rules of the road. Your wallet and your freedom will thank you. Section 11. Conclusion: drive safe, drive smart, y'all. Well folks, there you have it, a crash course in Texas traffic rules. We've covered everything from speed limits to DUI laws to the importance of buckling up and putting your phone away. Driving in Texas can be a challenge, but it's also a privilege. And with that privilege comes a responsibility to drive safely and obey the law. Remember, the rules of the road are there for a reason. They're not meant to restrict your freedom or make your life difficult. They're there to keep you and everyone else on the road safe. So, the next time you get behind the wheel, remember what we've talked about. Drive defensively, be aware of your surroundings, and always, always, always obey the law. And most importantly, folks, drive friendly. We're all in this together. Let's make Texas roads safer for everyone. Now go forth and drive safely, y'all.